Namaskar. Hello friends. We have been looking at retirement and today we will complete that discussion and start with something new. Yesterday we talked about what retirement should not be. Today we will see what retirement should be. First and foremost, the bedrock of retirement should be vairagya, an attitude of disinterest or detachment to whatever happens in one's life. Unless you can inculcate this kind of an attitude, the retirement will not be a true one. It will only be a change in routine and nothing more than that. The transition may have to be gradual, and during the transition phase, that is Vanaprasthashram, you may continue your involvement in the affairs of family, friends, community in a detached manner with a definite effort towards reducing it and ultimately withdrawing completely from it. It may be alright to continue helping your family during this phase and in rare cases even later if the situation so warrants. But it should be done with detachment and only if specifically asked for by the family members. Also, in case you are going to help the family, it is advisable to have a clarity on what exactly the family expects from you and what you can actually do. Focus on self, not in the sense of materialistic selfishness, but a spiritual one. In other words, let the world just be. You turn inwards and contemplate the spiritual question, namely, who is behind this creation and what is the purpose? It is as important to try and seek that knowledge as it was to experience the creation itself. Towards getting that knowledge, seek a proper guru, or at least start reading scriptures and other spiritual writings along with regular meditation. Strive towards ridding yourself of the past baggage of good and bad experiences, desires, and negative feelings like envy, greed, hatred, anger, pride, fear, attachment to possessions and loved ones. Empty your mind out empty your mind out so that your remaining life can be completely at the disposal of the Creator. You should tell yourself that you did not create yourself and you do not know who created you and for what. Your Creator must be having some purpose behind creating you. So whoever created you can do what he wants with your life, at least during the remaining years of your life. If you can develop this outlook, even though you may still find yourself leading an active life as in the past, your way of looking at it will be passive and without passion. Retirement should mean moving away from prapanch, that is householder's life, to the extent possible. But this moving away must definitely be at the mental level, and it may or may not necessarily mean actually going away from home and family. Of course, if you can move away from the family, it helps you to move away mentally too. But if you cannot leave your family for any reasons, you should live with them in a detached manner, without wanting things to be one way or the other. At the earliest possible stage, you and your spouse should try and move over to a senior citizens colony where you can be independent, away from your family and friends, and amongst similarly placed people. This will offer a better environment for striving towards your spiritual goal. Such a setting can also be useful when one of the two of you passes away earlier, leaving the other behind. In case you and your family, in case you and or your family do not approve of the idea of you going and living in a senior citizens colony, at least make sure that you get as much independence at home and do not have any responsibilities. Tell your, tell your family to engage a full-time help at home so that you are not saddled with any onerous responsibilities of the household and grandchildren. Keep your diet to the minimum with the objective of just supporting the energy requirement for the kind of activity you may be doing daily. In other words, never let input be greater than output as far as calories are concerned. Take light and regular exercise, preferably walking twice a day, 1 hour each time. Make it clear to your family that they need not bother about you and that they are completely free to pursue their own lives as they want. In other words, reduce your emotional involvement in your near and dear ones, and in turn, encourage them to reduce their emotional attachment to you. Tell yourself that the body is quite likely to deteriorate and hence maintain a stoic acceptance of that reality. Be ready to bear pain and suffering as far as possible. Prepare yourself for mild and reasonable medical treatment, but no extreme measures like surgeries, hospitalization, etc., except when absolutely required to alleviate unbearable pain. In any case, none of the measures should be aimed solely at prolonging life. So, bypass surgery, for example, is definitely out. Let life end when it has to. Be ready for the inevitability of death. Let it come anytime. Do not be afraid of it. Leave your spouse to the care of the Almighty. Do not feel worried as to how he or she will manage if you die earlier. Share this thinking regularly with your spouse so that he or she is ready for the inevitable. If you remain alone after your spouse's death, continue with your life as peacefully as you can, telling yourself that your spouse has moved on to something else that the Creator has ordained for him or her. Arrange for your wealth to be donated to a suitable charity after your death. Having said all this, let me reiterate something very basic, very important, that is behind all this thinking of mine. The views that are expressed above are completely personal, as I mentioned in the beginning. I don't, even for a moment, want to suggest that this way of looking at retirement is superior to any other way. Everyone is not destined to take to a spiritual life. I firmly believe that the Creator has created a tremendous variety by way of this creation, and everything that exists as a part of this creation belongs to its space and time as perfectly as everything else. So, I would never like to say something is right and something else is wrong, or this thing is better than that thing over there. The idea is only to share with the reader or the listener a particular view that I happen to subscribe to. If you can't bring yourself to accept it, then go ahead and continue eating, drinking, and having fun in general. But remember, while there may be fun and enjoyment on one side of the coin of life, there is suffering on its other side. A strong desire for liberation is the starting point. An adventurous friend of mine went to South America and spent some time exploring Amazon forests. He came back and described to my brother and me an animal he saw, which we had not even heard of. Unfortunately, My friend had run out of film roll then and hence was not able to take pictures of that animal. My friend described the features of the animal: his very large size, a mixed colored skin with irregularly shaped patches in various shades of brown, black, grey, its throaty and scary growl, etc. But that did not give us any idea as to what kind of an experience my friend must have had seeing that animal and hearing its growling. My friend tried his best to describe the animal, but that did not quite help us create a mental picture of it. Even if I tried to have a picture in my mind, I knew I won't be able to come anywhere close to the real image of the animal. To really know how that animal is, I would need to take the trouble and pains of reaching the Amazon forest, spending time there, and then maybe someday I would chance upon that animal. Since I had become excited about seeing the animal and the whole experience of the Amazon forest, I planned a holiday and went there. I was fortunate to see the animal one day and experience all that my friend had described about it. Then I was able to immediately realize that it was the same animal that my friend had described. But my brother, who had also heard the story of this animal, did not quite feel interested and soon forgot about it. So he did not join me. But then he never felt as if he missed anything, because he thought it wasn't something that was worth the trouble. He said in so many words that he was happy to visit a zoo and see a few animals there. My friend could experience that animal without knowing anything about it, because he had an adventurous spirit. On the other hand, I was made aware of that animal by my friend, and hence I got interested in seeing that exciting animal. So I went ahead and put in the effort, which ultimately fructified in my being able to see the animal. Thus, my friend and I both had a similar experience of the animal, though our paths were not quite the same. My brother, on the other hand, did not have any interest and did not bother about it at all, so he was not able to see the animal. Spirituality is something similar. Some of us read scriptures and hear from spiritual thinkers, sages, self-realized souls about the real self or the Atman, that is soul. There are various ways in which different people describe the soul, but all this does not give us any idea about what the experience of soul, in other words, self-realization, will actually be like. It is only when we actually realize self that we will know what self or Atman is. My friend in the story above did not know anything about the animal earlier, but when he saw it straight away, he experienced the looks and growling of the animal directly. The fact that nobody had told him about the animal earlier did not at all hamper his experience of the animal. Likewise, a spiritual seeker who does not have scriptural knowledge about Atman may still be able to experience Atman by the grace of God by faithfully following Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. The reason is that self-experience is sovereign. It does not need a prior knowledge of the self. However, one needs to have the desire to know the self, a sufficiently intense desire that will inspire and move him to seek the real self. I will stop here and will continue the next time. Until then, bye, take care.